Hey guys, welcome to the Code Pathshala. I am Roshan, working as a software engineer in F5. So today I'll be talking about the most important topic of system design, which is rate limiter. So what all things we will be covering in this video, the list is given here. So first we'll be understand about the definition of the rate limiter, then the benefits, then where to put the rate limiters. Should we put on server side or should we put on client side or should we put in middleware? So that we will discuss about. And then after the very important topic, which is algorithm of rate limiters. So these are the 5 algorithms. Then we will talk about the detailed design of rate limiting, how you will design the rate limiting in your organization, in your infrastructure. Then suppose if you want to scale your rate limiting to the distributed system, so how you can scale? So whenever you will be scaling, you will face the problem of race conditions. So how you can take care of those things. So we'll discuss about that. And then after at last monitoring, how you can monitor your rate limiter. So before starting the video, if you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe it now and press the bell icon. So without getting the delay, let's start the video. So the first thing that why we are using rate limiter. The rate limiter controls the rate of the traffic which is sent by the client or by the server. It means it limits the number of client requests allowed to be sent over a specific period. So suppose if API request count exceeds the limit which is configured in the rate limiter, the request will be denied and all the access will be blocked. So let's take the example. Suppose a user can post up to 10 times in a minute, or maybe you can allow 2 posts per minute. So for these things you can use rate limiter. Another example, that suppose you want to create 10 accounts per day with the same IP address. So I hope you understand the definition and the usage of the rate limiters. Now the next point is the benefits. What is the benefits of the rate limiters? So one of the most benefit of the rate limiter is that it prevents the DDoS attack. Like the Twitter limits 300 tweets per 3 hours and the Google Doc API limits up to 300 read requests per user per hour. It means per user per 60 seconds. So if request exceeds the limit, then the rate limiter will block those all requests which will be exceeded. That's why it prevents the DDoS attack. So the first benefit is prevent DDoS attack. The second benefit that it is reducing the cost. So suppose the company which is using the third party API and pay hourly basis for those APIs. In this condition we need to limit the request. So the cost will be reduced. So second benefit is reduce the cost. The third benefit, the rate limiter prevents the server being overloaded. It means that suppose if you are putting the rate limiter in between client and server, so you are putting the limits of the API calls and client will not cross those limits. So if the limit exceeds, the call will not going through the server. It will be blocked at rate limiter. Prevent server being overloaded. So this is the third benefits. So I hope you understand about the benefits of the rate limiter. Now the next point is that where we have to put the rate limiters. Should we put at client side or should we put at server side? So let's discuss about that. So one is that can we put at client side or maybe server side or maybe middleware. So suppose if you are putting the rate limiter at client side. So in this case, client request will be easily forced by malicious actors because you are a client and we are putting the rate limiters. You can cross the limits because you can change the things, correct? So you cannot put the rate limiter at client side. Now the point is that can you put the rate limiter at server side? Of course you can, but it is not recommended way. So suppose you are putting the rate limiter at server side. So in this case, for each and every client request should be connected to the server and then after rate limiter will work. So this is not the good design. If you are putting the rate limiter at server side, client must have to connect it with the server to get the benefit of the rate limiter. So now point is that where should we put? We can put in between of the client and server here. So let's see how we can put the rate limiter between client and server. So suppose here you have a client, you have a server and you are putting the rate limiter in between of client and server. So let's take the example that you are configured the rules or in the rate limiter that you can only allow 2 requests per second. So suppose in 1 second you will get request 1, then it will go through the rate limiter and reach out to server request 1. Now request 2 will come because you are configured 2 requests per second. So in the same seconds the request 2 will come, so it will be passed through the rate limiter and reach to the server. So now let's see, the third request will come in the same seconds. So here in rate limiter it will be blocked and it will not reach to the server. So the client server communications will not be done for the third request. It will be blocked because you have configured 2 requests per second. So whenever the third request will come, it will be blocked at rate limiter and return it to the client with the response code 429. That indicates that too many requests. So I hope you understand that where we should put the rate limiters. So now suppose if you think that should we put a separate service for rate limiter. So yes, you can put, or maybe you can put in the same code without writing the separate service. So it all depends that how your code is designed, what types of infrastructure you are using. So what we covered till now, we covered the definition, we covered the benefit, then where we can put rate limiter. So this is very long video. I'll take these all topics in the next video. So we'll continue this video. So if you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe it now and press the bell icon. So whenever the rate limiter part 2 will be uploaded, you will get the notification. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. Thank you so much.